Peace and blessings, family. Welcome. It is yours truly, Bakari John Boy. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Sunday. EY Pele Movements and Ministry, where we focus on your spiritual, your physical, and your financial well-being. We're so excited to bring this message to you. Hopefully, everybody weekend is going well. How many of you been threading out there? How many of you been threading? You're on that threading out there, making some new friends out there in the business world. I'm telling you, I'm definitely enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely good to learn these various apps that's coming out. You know, you want to definitely keep up with that, man. You know, but yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about Christ consciousness. And so, wife is going to take control of it. But first, we're going to go to a short commercial break. So if you haven't already, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you're on Facebook, if you had an Android, it's up into the right-hand side up there on the phone there. When you open it up, you should see a notification bell up there. You know, click on that, and you get all the notifications. For those of you who follow me on Facebook, whenever we go live, okay, so you can get this empowering content. So tonight, again, we're going to be talking about Christ consciousness, but not from a perspective of a religious perspective. Okay, we're going to take you back, okay, to the spiritual side of the house. We talking about, you know, like the song say, all the way back. You know, we're gonna take you back, you know, back to Kemet, you know, in the beginning. All right. So get ready, you know, put on your knowledge and your wisdom and understanding, seatbelts. We get ready to go in just a brief moment. But we're gonna go for a short commercial break, and then thereafter, we're gonna dive right in. Okay, family. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, family. We're getting ready to kick this off. Okay, Queen. Go ahead and set up the presentation.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, I'm glad to be here. Glad to see each and every one of you. Glad that you guys could come out and you can join us. We were having a little bit of technical difficulty, so you may see some different things as we go through this presentation and this class on today. Today is part one of our Christ KRST Christ consciousness that we're going to do. We're going to do various series on these. But first, I want to honor the ancestors. I want to honor my husband. And again, I thank you guys for being on with us today. So as we go along, we ask that you kind of bear with us because this is at the last minute, we got this rejection. But just bear with us for a moment as we go on to do this presentation. All right, so last week in episode 10, we went over moral lifestyle, part 3. We discussed morality, the moral lifestyle of our ancestors, our moral lifestyle today. We talked about Iwa Pele, Iwa Riri, the principles of Mayat. And we uncovered our immoral living has offset the balance of the universe and the fact that we live in an aesthetic evil society and what we need to do to tame it with Mayat authority. We gave some solutions, and at that time, those solutions were Ubuntu, Iwa Pele, and Mayat. And this time, we're going to go through episode 11, the Christ Heru consciousness, part 1. We will be coming from a Twa, Cushite, Kemetic, ancient Egypt, Hebrew, biblical perspective. We will be discussing the spiritual laws and concepts of Christ, KRST, Heru, Christ consciousness, and what it means for us in our quest for ascension. We will uncover the history and significance of this principle or this concept. We will show you yet another diabolical plan of the colonizer to rob our ancestors of spiritual concepts, to reface them, to repackage them, and poison them, then feed them back to us while watching us die spiritual deaths. What they fed us is GMO. This is not the stuff that, this is not the original stuff, that they're giving to us. What they're giving to us will make us sick, so we don't want to digest it in its form now. Its modified state. We want to come as close to the original form as possible. So as I set up this presentation here, we're gonna let's see what we can do here. We're gonna go straight into the actual presentation. Thank you for bearing with us. All right, so there it is, Christ consciousness, Heru, and Christ consciousness. So today, let me just explain a little bit, because there could be some confusion as to what we're really speaking about when we speak about Christ consciousness or Heru consciousness. KRST is KRST, in regards to, and it's where the word Christ, CHRIST, came from. Christ was relating to the Heru consciousness. And so here in this definition, it says the Kemetic ancient Egyptian principle of the Christ Heru consciousness. It's the transformative power of the all that is within each and every person and thing. And again, I'm going to say this is the power. This consciousness is the power that is within us that helps us to transform. It's a state of heightened awareness where one is in tune with nature and the spiritual world simultaneously. Sometimes they call it wokeness. She is woke. You know what I'm saying? You're in tune with your inner self, your inner spirit. You're getting a greater knowledge and understanding of what's going on the inside of you. And at the same time, you're understanding what's going on the outside. You find out and you see how nature correlates with what is going on the inside of you. And so we had a couple of ascended masters or teachers that went before us that were the example of what Heru consciousness, Christ consciousness, or whatever consciousness, they were the example of it. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as we go forward also. Chris, now I had a whole, we're just going to go over this, and I'm going to do my best, because the next time we come back, we're going to go over it again. So Chris is Christ, it means burial, the anointed mummy, right? Some people don't know that. The word Christ is derived from Chris, KRST, in ancient Kemet, which means anointed mummy. Many would say that it meant something different when referring to Yeshua. The term was first seen referring to Osiris, as he was he was murdered by his brother. It started to refer to him. It started to refer to him as being in a chest and getting ready to be buried. As you can see, as the metaneter or the hieroglyphs, the Christ it signifies burial. Based upon the letters that were in this metaletter, it signifies burial. And this information came from Gerald Massey. And there's been, of course, a back and forth debate. Some people don't want it to mean burial or the anointed mummy or what have you. But it has been debated, and they have gone through it over and over again, trying to decipher what this meant, and have come to the bottom line, even as far back as 2017, that this means burial or anointed mummy. And one of the things that reason they came to this conclusion is because the caressing, that's K-A-R-A-S-I-N, or anointing the body, meant to embalm or pour ointment on the body and wrap the cloth around it, or make a mummy of the dead body. Mummies were not prepared to make the physical body rise again, but the preparation for the soul to resurrect in its glorified spiritual body. So the KRST, or the KRST, is a person who is anointed as Haru during their lifetime. When they are deceased, they receive a great honor as a KRST or Christ or Asar or Osiris. Because remember, the last time we spoke, we talked about how Asar or Osiris, we talked about the Asar principle, how he went down and he came back up, right? So Haru, Hero, Horus, Hercules, some of the names that they use for him, they're directly tied to this term KRST, or Christ, or Christ, as the Greek said, Christ, right? So as you can see also in the KRST hieroglyphs, you see the baby mummy. You ever remember inside of the story of Yeshua when they said the baby was wrapped in swaddling clothes, and that these wise men came from afar to anoint it, well, to give him frankincense and myrrh and all this oil, right? This oil and this swaddling clothes and all of this, it signifies one that's supposed to be anointed, one that's supposed to be, of a great stature or what have you. And I'm just going to go over it again, because the dead body of this anointed one, you can see this was in life and in death. But the dead body of this anointed one is glorified, right? Thus the process of anointing was said, O Asar, the deceased, the thick oil which is poured upon thee furnishes thy mouth with life, right? It also said that the anointing is done to give sight to the eyes, hearing to the ears, sense of smell to the nostrils, and utterance to the mouth. I liken this unto, when we were in church, so to speak, they were saying that if you were anointed, I'm just using this as, I'm not saying that it really, really pertains to this as much, but they said that you were anointed, you became sharpened in everything that you did, right? This is like when you were really woke, right? When you was really conscious, you can see things of a greater, you can see in the realm of the spirit greater. You can hear in the realm of the spirit easier, right? And for me, I can sense things by smell, and I can utter things out of my mouth, right? Because of the conscious awareness that has embarked upon in my life. So to get back to this, to show you that this actually meant to anoint the mummy, to embalm the body, thus was to KRST it, and the embalmment was a mode of making the typical Christ as anointed. This is what made this individual as anointed. Thus, the mortal Horus was invested with the glory of the only begotten son. Horus, now, mind you, Horus was out thousands of years before the one they called Jesus came, right? Thousands of years. So the making of him as the Christ of the mummy, Christ is also noted in the gospel. And I also talked about, the baby being wrapped in swaddling clothes, and they bring in incense and myrrh and everything to this baby as it's wrapped. That was just to let us know that this child was divine. This was a Christ. This was a special divine one, right? And I'm speaking to you to also to let you know that this is a pattern, so to speak, that the anointed ones, this is what happens to the anointed ones. Heru was a long time before Jesus the Christ. Buddha, all of them, Krishna, all of them came before Jesus the Christ. And so in order to signify that this Jesus the Christ, I'm going to say story, or to make him a deity or to deify him, he had to have certain parameters and certain things checked off on his list. And this is one of them, to show that he was anointed. So he kind of took on the likeness of the people that came before him, or the deities that came before him. Now, even in the Jesus the Christ story, to prove more that this anointed oil was to signify this individual was a Christ, and during the time of burial, it said when women brought the alabaster cruse with precious ointment to the house of Simon and poured it on the head of Yeshua, he says, in this she poured this anointment upon my body. She did it to prepare me for my burial. She brought the oil to prepare him for his burial. She was making the Christ anointed. She was making him an anointed mummy. After the crucifixion of the Christ, of Jesus the Christ, it said that Nicodemus came and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes and 100 pounds of oil and things like that. And that was in John 19, 39 and 40, right? So all of this is to denote the making of the KRST, mummy or Christ. In one version, we have a Christ when it just came into this earth and they were anointing it. It was in swaddling clothing. And then we had another version of a Christ, whereas it had done its life work and they were anointing it and then they were putting it to rest. This is Heru, the Christ, right? And we're going to talk about today the Heru consciousness, the nature of higher consciousness that fights to defend Mayat. Remember last week we talked about Mayat and all of her significance and what she meant in the land of Kemet, and how she was balanced and harmony and how she had everything balanced, right? So we have Heru. He fights to defend Mayat. Mind you, this is a significant because he's fighting on the inside. This is that character that stands up on the inside of you and say, nope, we ain't mouse-like, we're going to be Christ-like. You know what I'm saying? We're going to stand up and we're going to fight, and we're going to preserve and do the right thing. So he's the nature of higher consciousness that fights to defend Mayat. He's the son of Asar and of Set, the avenger of his father against Set. Here's the netter that appears as a falcon or falcon-headed man or a sun disk with falcon wings. Heru is the embodiment of divine rulership and Kemet, or priest of higher consciousness. Heru means that which is above heaven, or that which is righteous. He who is above, or that which is above. Heru is the embodiment of royalty or divine rulership in Kemet. Heru is the ultimate triumph the ultimate transformation in human form. So I need for you guys to catch on to this, catch what we're saying, catch what's really happening here, you know, in this transformative atmosphere here. Just check out what's really happening. So there's an ancient prediction that Heru will one day return to recapture the kingdom of his father, when the golden age will be restored and the lion will unite with the lamb. Heru is believed to have resurrected during the Aquarian age, and we're in the Aquarian age right now. He is the Prince of Peace, the bringer of order, redeemer of truth for humanity, resurrection, and the life. He is able to right the wrongs of the past, free the oppressed, and restore Mayat. Now, mind you, he is the defender of Mayat. And this is Mayat's brother-in-law. I didn't mention that before, but this is her brother-in-law, her sister, married Heru. Heru is the life advocate, the warrior that fought against falsehood. He is the son that avenges his father's death by battling and defeating Set, his uncle who killed his father through jealousy, right? So, and we all know about the eye of Heru. This is the eye, all-seeing eye, commonly known as the third eye. It's the eye of inner consciousness, which is actually our first eye. This is significant to the eye that leads and guides us. Heru is the protector of positive energy, the creator of balance through struggle, the son, again, of Asar and Aset. And let me just explain something. I have to explain these pictures here one by one. The first one, you have Heru. He has, you know, he's in his royalty at that point where he has the pointed hat on. You know that he's walking in royalty, right? But you know, he has a falcon face. And like I said before, it doesn't mean that there was a Birdman walking around Kemet. One thing about our ancestors, they were very strategic in what they did, right? They were strategic in, you know, what they presented. So if Heru walked around with a falcon head, then that falcon is very significant. The nature, this is the connection with nature and with us spiritually. They linked it together. I'm going to tell you about this falcon in a minute, but they linked the fact that there was a animal in nature to what was going on with us spiritually, right? So it says the falcon, our ancestors honored the spirit of the animal, the spirit of the bird. The falcon is the fastest creature on the planet Earth. The falcon can fly 285 miles an hour as he's zooming down on his opponent. He has the keenest eyesight, where he can see up to 2.5 miles ahead. Where there's a storm, every creature on the planet seeks shelter. But this falcon could fly above the storm. Listen to this. If a fish is in the water, the falcon can go 20 meters into the water to grab that fish. And when he comes out, he is dry, right? Because his feathers are water repellent. Water rolls off his back like what they say, like water on a duck. He has no rivals in the sky. And our ancestors wanted us to embrace this. And if you look at it, right? And if you look at it from a perspective of something that you want to mimic, number one, it says that he is the fastest. He is the keenest. He don't mess around in the storm when the storm is going on, or when something in lower nature is in chaos is going on. He goes above that chaos. You know, I never forget, I had a dream about a friend or whatever, or a vision or whatever word that I needed to speak with her. And that's when Spirit told me to tell her to rise above that situation, rise above that dimension where they were arguing and fighting and stuff like that. When you're in battle, shoot your bombs from above. And as a falcon, and in a falcon nature, since he rises above the storm, he would have the ability to drop the bomb. If he was inside of the storm, no doubt in my mind, he wouldn't be able to see as good. He may not even be able to fly as good. But when you rise above the issues that are trying to trip you down, trying to tie you up, trying to tangle you up, you're better positioned in order to drop bombs on your enemy, so to speak. So our ancestors embrace nature, and that's why you see all of these netcheroos, that's why you see them all, looking different in the embodiment of what they represent. And if you want to survive in a dry desert or a place, just study the animals. Just study the animals, and they'll teach you how to survive. That's what our ancestors did. They began to study the animals so they know how to survive. You learn from the thing that came before you. So I just wanted to show you some similarities between Heru and the one they call Jesus. And I mentioned earlier that, there's some similarities. No doubt in my mind, somebody, might have forgot they saw Heru over in Egypt and, painted Jesus. I don't know. But there's some similarities. As you can see, Heru and his mother, she did her breast thing. And as you can see, Mary with Jesus, and they're very, very similar in what they do. So that is on the left. On the right, you have the scene here of what happens when people die. But if you look all the way to the right, you'll see Heru there with the ankh in his hand, standing right before his father, Asar, and he has this individual, Ani, with him, and he's pointing. And the only way that Ani could get to his father, which was God, was Asar, Lord of the underworld and what have you, is through him. So that's also where they get, you can't come to the Father except through me, right? Heru is the only way that the individual is able to get to the Father, right? So why is Heru this important that you can't even get to the Father, you can't even get to where you need to be except you go through him? There's things in your life and within ourselves, you know what I'm saying, that we have to upgrade. We have to become conscious of the way that we're living and what we're doing. And you will not be able to ascend. You will not be able to rise above except you become conscious, or except you come to the knowledge of some truths, right? So what's going to happen now, because we're actually bringing this to a close really early, we're gonna I'm just going to tell you of a poem right quick, and then we're going to close here. We're going to continue to go on and talk about this Heru consciousness and the Christ consciousness with Yeshua and Heru and things of that nature too. And this is very, very important. And that's why we're going to continue to go on it. I never forget the other day I was in prayer and I asked Spirit, I was like, okay, could you tell me about this Jesus dude, or this Jesus that they told us about, and then all of a sudden he's not who they say he is or whatever. The Spirit let me know at that time that he was an avatar. So I just want to say that this morning I was like, and this Spirit told me this like 2 weeks ago. I never looked up avatar or what it was. And when I looked up the word this morning, it was way deeper than what I thought. And revelations began to go off in my spirit. And I have to put those together so I can present to you and let you know what really is happening. So we're not going to go into that in more depth today, but when we come back, not next week, the week after next, we're going to speak more in depth about how Yeshua is an avatar, right? So in the meantime, let me do this in my closing. I'm going to do this small little writing. This is from MFUNDISHI. He's very well known. He's a teacher. The vast majority of what I spoke about today, it came from his teachings. So here's the Heru consciousness. Here is the little poem that he wrote, and it's about Heru consciousness. It said, "I am eternal spirit. I have always existed. I am spirit, Heru consciousness. I am you." Did you hear what he said? I am you. And we have the power. We have always had the power. We are Netter, and the Netter is all. We were born to be reborn. Our rebirth is an unending act. Life is eternal and interwoven, continuous miracle. On journey towards the light, which is the spirit, Heru consciousness is the power that brings Mayat. Our purpose is to bring forth healing, balance, and truth, justice, righteousness, and external harmony. I have always existed. I am you, African, the total sum of everything that has ever happened. I am everything that has been and the potential to be. You, Heru consciousness, I am eternal spirit. So I just want to thank you guys for being with us on that. So I'll leave the rest to my husband to see what he has to say.
Peace and blessings, fam. Our fam Bull Kionda, thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you also for inviting others to tune in. And for those who've been continuously supporting us, we want to say thank you. We greatly appreciate it. You know, we don't take it lightly that you taking out the time, you know, to come on and to share this spiritual evolution with us. And so we're just grateful for this opportunity to be able to come on, beloved, and to be able to share what we have learned in our studies, and to be able to help us to have a better understanding of ourselves, to clear up the misinformation that has been disseminated to us for centuries, right? And so that's what we want to do. We want to set the record straight, right? And so hopefully you're learning something. If you already know it, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. We encourage you to share what you know, in a loving manner, so that we all can awaken. Because as we all know, a lot of our brothers and our sisters are not cognizant of it, just like we weren't at one time. So let us be sensitive to that, and share the truth in love. And I truly believe that through love and kindness, we will draw. Okay, regardless of the deception that has been placed on our minds to believe a lie that is truth, and that these truths that we're teaching are lies. And it's a reason for that. Remember, why would your enemy ever want you to know the truth about who and what you are, when their agenda is to keep you enslaved, knowing that once you're free mentally, they can no longer enslave you. You understand? So that's what the reality is. We're going back to the beginning. We're going to continue to go back to the beginning. And what we mean is pre-slavery. Okay, this is what we're doing, pre-slavery. And our mission is to restore our people back to our traditional greatness. You understand? We lack confidence because we don't know our accomplishments. we lack confidence because we have had a negative, I want to say, narrative, if you will, shade thrown us, if you will, right, to hide who we really are. And so we run away from that because we say, what do we have to be proud of? Where we want to show you what we have to be proud of. And that's our mission. It's to really show you you have nothing to be ashamed of. You understand? Because our history does not start with being enslaved. In fact, what we're showing you is the truth about our teachings, that it is moral and that it teaches us to have iwariri, to have good character, right? We have foundational principles that the African lived by before we were enslaved. And what we want to show you is the way we looked before what we look like now. So what we want to do is to make our minds more beautiful than it was before they enslaved us. We want to clean up our minds and detox our minds from the toxicity that has been cast upon us. We want to get rid of the gangster rap imagery. We want to get rid of, the rump shaking and the twerking. And, we want to get rid of the way we mistreat each other. And unfortunately, even with us, we're immune to it. And it's common to us. And we think that that's the way we actually are. No, it's not. No, it's not. We did not come over here like that. You understand? And believe it or not, even after we were enslaved, even after we were released, we still weren't like that. We were not like that. We got to pay attention to that agenda. And guess what? That weapon of colonization had prospered against us. But guess what? Like our ancestors said, Mama Maya Angelou, you may beat us down with those bitter, twisted lies, but like dust, we'll rise. And if you notice, there's always somebody, there's always a Messiah. There's always a Messiah or Messiahs. There's a verse in the Bible that said there was many saviors sent to the house of Israel. You understand? So guess what? There's been many saviors that's been sent. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Malcolm X, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. You understand? The Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Do you understand? You know what I'm saying? There's always somebody that has been the anointed one, that has been chosen to go and let our people go. There's always, every generation, pay attention, check your history, check your history. There has always been somebody that has been resurrected, okay, that has went and told us exactly who we are. And I'm talking about separate from religion, separate from religion. You know what I'm saying? And the Honorable Malcolm X, he pointed us back to Africa. Marcus Garvey did what? Pointed us back to Africa. Do you understand? Even the church that was started was called the AME Church. What does A stand for? The African Methodist, African. Do you understand? Do you understand? You understand? So our people already knew what we are. You understand? And we have to refamiliarize ourselves with who and what we are. This is the great awakening, not the falling. Listen, what we're falling away from is the lies. That's the truth. Yeah, we falling away from the lies. That's what we're falling away from. Huh? And we're actually waking up. And I don't mind that title that they put. Oh, these woke folk. That's right, we woke. That's right, we're not asleep no more. I accept it. I take it. I'll take it. Put it on me. You're right. We woke. Absolutely. Because now we're aware of the lies that we have been taught, and we're not ashamed of who and what we are, and we know exactly where our people come from, and it's time to wake us all up. We've been deceived long enough. We've been trying to be European long enough. We've been colonized in our minds long enough. You understand? And it's time for our people to be let go and to be set free from the lies that we have been taught for centuries. And we can't be afraid of the label of being a terrorist. You know, guess what? And I'm getting ready to close right here. You know the only persons that this truth terrorizes is those who follow lies. Huh? Yeah, we're terrorizing them with the truth because we're pulling the cover off of what their ancestors have done and what their racist selves are doing now. You understand? And so it's torturing them because, oh no, they're waking up now. Oh no, we can't get them not to love themselves no more. Oh no, they tell them to let go of the gangster rap. No. They don't want that. Why? Because then you'll walk in the divinity that you are. And then you walk in your royalty that you are. And then you'll start taking dominion and being fruitful and multiplying. But listen, the multiplication is the mindset. That's what's going to multiply. They don't want that mindset to germinate.
That consciousness.
Absolutely, sweetheart. And guess what? There is power in numbers. Nguvu pamoja. Stronger together. We're stronger together. And once we wake up and we all come together and we all recognize who and what we are, oh, we are forced to be reckoned with. Believe that. Ask them what happened when Shaka Zulu didn't take their mess. Ask them what happened when Toussaint Louverture didn't take their mess. Ask them what happened when Thomas Sankara didn't take their mess. Ask them what happened when Marcus Garvey stepped on the scene and Elijah Muhammad stepped on the scene. Oh boy, now there's a force to be reckoned with.
Yes. And what is happening after you put those things down, they recognize that you're going through a spiritual metamorphosis, that you're spiritually transforming. And when you get into your right mind, your right consciousness, there'll be a lot of things that change internally and externally. This is what they don't want. They don't want you to walk in your Haru consciousness. They don't want you to walk in your higher self. They don't want you to tap on the inside of yourselves so that you and that you become aware that there's more power on the inside. They asked, or they set it up so that you can seek something on the outside when the power is on the inside. And once you become tap into this divine self, this is where the nervousness comes. This is the energy that they're trying to stamp out. This Haru energy, this like Kiana say, a spiritual metamorphosis. They don't want you to transform. They want you to walk in darkness. But we're rising above, just like the falcon, just like Haru. We're rising above the storm. We're going to drop bombs on the enemy. You see what I'm saying? We will no longer be caught up in the chaos. We're coming with strategy. We're going to the place where we are able to unload the arsenal.
And this is not hate teaching. This is love teaching. Because we're teaching us to love ourselves. We're teaching us to look at our people before we were colonized, meaning talking about cooperative economics. We love pointing the finger at the Ashkenazis. We love pointing the finger at the Chinese. We love pointing the finger at other ethnic groups, but what we have been detached from is the fact that our people did bartering before we were enslaved. That was nothing new. That was nothing new before the racist Europeans showed up on the scene. Cooperative economics wasn't nothing new. In fact, entrepreneurship wasn't nothing new. This is the reason why the consciousness of the African man and woman must be awakened. And this is the reason why I keep saying we lack the confidence, because we don't know our accomplishment. You stopping at the street light and we did that. When you're on the internet, we did that. When you're on the cell phone, we did that. When you're using your GPS, we did that. We are melanin magic, beloved. Whether they want us to know it or not, oh well. We're going to keep telling our people how great we really are. You understand? We're not going to just keep talking about the trauma that we've experienced because of what the colonizer has done. No, it's time to wake us up with information that's going to cause us to go up in our consciousness. That's why it's called higher. It's a higher level of education to help you to evolve in your mind so you can walk in the power of who you are. You understand? Listen, we're not here to make mini me's. We'll help you to be a big you. Oh man, I'm gonna say it again. We're not here to make mini me's. We know it's not for you to be like us. It's for you to be like you. Do you understand? You need to wake up and walk in the power of who you are. You understand? You have a purpose in this earth. You understand? We're not here to make you burnt carbon copies of us. No, you need to walk in the power of who you are. You got power. But you know why you don't think you got the power? Because of the state that our people are in right now consciously. You feel like how do we got the power? A lot of people say, oh, we don't got it's beyond economics. You know the reason why I'm saying this? Is because, first of all, if you don't have a wealthy mind, we live the way we think. You won't live wealthy. Do you understand?
Time for a shifting of the mind.
So the reason why we stay in that mindset is because we have a defeated mindset and we think that we're not capable. Do you understand? How is it that Madam C.J. Walker did what she did and don't have the resources that we have today? How is that? Do you know Booker T. Washington was well off? Did you know that? We talk about Black Wall Street all the time, but yet we still have more access to more resources. But you know the reason why we don't walk in that power? Because we're not programmed to walk in that power. We're just programmed just to go work for somebody. But we have the ability to go start businesses and to have ownership. But a lot of us are not taught that. We're just taught just to go on a job and to work. See, again, mindset. It's not that we don't have the ability. It's just that the brothers and sisters don't have the mindset. That's what we have to get back to. Is the mindset. And once we renew our minds, once we start telling our children, start owning, go on that job, learn something, learn a trade, okay, get you some clients on the side and start you a business. See, that's the only way we're going to be broken from us not owning. I promise you. How can somebody hire someone on a job that don't exist? Think about it. How can we hire someone on a job when we're not in a position to hire? And I'm talking about us writing the checks. I'm not talking about you being on human resources and working on their jobs. I'm talking about us having our own and us hiring and writing the checks. That's a big difference, beloved. It's a big difference. It's a big difference when we have an African brand car dealership that was started by us than us actually buying into the European stuff and then we working on their behalf and making their names even bigger. This is something that we have to understand. Once upon a time, their names wasn't as big as it is. They started out small. Don't despise the days of small beginnings. They started out small. Jeff Bezos started out small. Do you understand? But we despise small beginnings, and we got to start shopping with each other and supporting one another and wearing each other brands, just like we sport Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Listen, until the day we start doing that, guess what? Our business is going to keep dying.
I want to address something
Here.
that Brother Lyle said. He said something in the comments. He said, we also need to learn how to reprogram our subconscious mind as well. The subconscious regulates the conscious state in real time. And you're absolutely right, Brother Lyle, in regards to the subconscious. That's why I say you have to be careful of what you put in your ear. You know, there are times at night, I sleep all night long with certain stuff in my ear so that it could assist in reprogramming the subconscious mind. One of the things that happened to me in 2018, when I wanted to go forward in a certain venture, you know, Spirit knew that my mind wasn't where it needed to be. First thing that my instructions were to read about, to study about, to learn about, and at this time it was money and real estate for the next 6 months. Why? And then that thing started manifesting. It was already in my spirit. I became a money and a real estate magnet by that point. So we have to constantly watch what we're putting in our ears. We have to constantly watch what we're digesting. You understand what I'm saying? In order for us to transform our mind, we have to get books and studies about, you know, coming into higher consciousness. We have to get books and studies about, you know, elevating, you know, on ways that we can make our life better. You know what I mean? This is how we reprogram our mind. And if there's a habit, it say you do anything for 21 days, it starts to begin a habit. But the more you put into your subconscious mind, the more things start to change. And then next thing you know, your body and things like that will automatically be automatically start doing some of this thing. You have to reprogram yourself. You have to do it all over again. This is something what they call born again. If you don't like the way that you was born the first time, be born again. You have the ability to reprogram who you are.
That's right. And ending here, some of us heard this verse before, and it's actually going to be in the video that I'm doing tomorrow. Make sure you look out for it. In the financial arena. And the verse says, you will have the poor with you always. But this is the book of Bakari, John Boy. You have the poor with you always, but guess what? You don't have to be one of them. I'm going to say it again. You will have the poor with you always, but you don't have to be one of them. I retired when I was 39 years old. I'm from the inner city of Rochester, New York, where I grew up on welfare. You understand? See, once we understand it's a difference between boasting and a difference between sharing your story to empower, to help those who come from the same, who are in the same situation.
Testify.
Yes, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Those who are in the same situation, my wife from the inner city too. So for those of you who are in the same situation we came out of, is to show you that if another human being can do it, you can too. It's not inhumanly possible. Do you understand? I refuse to accept poverty. I never seen myself growing up and staying in the inner city. Huh?
Not only that, sweetheart, welfare recipient.
Never seen it. And this is not to knock anybody that's on welfare. Hear what I'm saying to you.
No, I'm just saying what happened to me in the projects. I was in Section 8.
Right. You know what I'm saying? This is not to knock anybody that is living in this condition. What we're here to say to you is that you don't have to stay in that condition. Nobody said it was going to be easy. Let's be clear, because some of y'all like to argue about it. You understand? You know what that means? That means that mindset of poverty has to be broken out of you, because why would you argue to stay in that situation? You know what that means? That you have a defeated mindset. And you must understand the difference between you and I is just simply my faith. Do you understand? And my work ethic. And my ambition. My father wasn't there for me. Do you know my father told me at the age of 5 he didn't want to see me no more? You saying, Brother Bakker, would have to do a Christ consciousness, because it's a higher level of thinking that helped me to go to a higher level. Do you understand? It was a prosperous mindset that brought me out of poverty. And some of you just think, oh, this is just some hoax stuff. Oh, this naming and claim. Listen here. It's a mindset. It's called the law of attraction. You understand? And life and death is in the power of your tongue. And I spoke these things. I seen these things. Okay. And I worked towards these things and manifested these things. Some of these things I seen years before it actually manifested. But guess what? I did my part. Hear me clearly. If you don't sow any seed, you won't reap the harvest. Write that down. Keep that in your mind, whatever you need to do to motivate yourself. If I don't sow any seed, then I won't reap. Listen, you got to understand, this is not a Christian thing. Because some of you hear these things, listen, this is an African proverb. You understand? Understand this. It's African. If you don't sow a seed, you won't reap a harvest. So if you do nothing, you can expect nothing. Do you understand? And listen, it may be a little tough for you. You may have to, make some sacrifice. You may have to close yourself in. You might can't go to the club. You might can't go to that concert. You understand? But guess what? The ROI is going to be you creating wealth. That's right. The ROI is going to be you creating wealth. If you toil diligently and you do one investment at a time and use one financial strategy at a time, budgeting first, because you can't invest money that you don't have. I always tell people this all the time. What got me in the position I was in before I even started real estate, before we even went into the e-commerce business, before my wife and I became life insurance advisors as well, you know what got me there? Budgeting. You know why? Because it helped me to eradicate debt, which brought in more income. And now I could take that money and invest it. Again, nobody's saying it's going to be easy, beloved. You're going to have to figure it out. I'm serious. You got to start from somewhere. I don't care if you discipline yourself, start putting $1 aside. And it may sound funny to some. I'm very serious. You got to train yourself to be an investor. You have to train yourself to be a saver and to be an investor. It takes discipline. And I'm telling you, that's how I was able to retire at 39. I leveraged my job too. So some of you probably hear this negative stuff about the job. You understand? But you can do it. You use that 401k to your best advantage. You put as much money in there as you possibly can. You understand what I'm saying? Get you a cash value life insurance policy because it's tax-free. You don't have to go through all this red tape that you will go through with a 401k or Roth IRA. You understand what I'm saying? Even though that's like, pre-tax or what have you. But what I'm saying to you is you don't have to go through all that red tape. Basically, you don't have to wait till you're 65 and a half to pull your money out. That's just a jewel I wanted to throw in there for you. And I'm not just saying, I don't sell life insurance. Let me be clear. We present families with opportunities for them to create and transfer wealth. I don't sell nothing. We present families with opportunities to create and transfer wealth. And you want to learn more, reach out to us. Okay, but we got to start from somewhere, and that's a very inexpensive way for us to transfer wealth to our families is getting life insurance policy. What does that have to do with Christ consciousness? Having a higher consciousness. In other words, wanting to be wealthy, wanting to live a life of abundance and prosperity. I'm not going to tell you that look like a Bentley. I'm not going to tell you that look like a Rolls Royce. I'm not going to tell you that look like a Mercedes-Benz or BMW. Whatever the good life looks like to you, that's what I'm talking about. That's what the wealthy place is. Okay? And I'm going to leave it there. I just got it because we focus on spiritual, physical, and financial. And it'll be remiss of me to sit here and let us keep living a broke life. I'm not going to let it happen. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. Because if we don't look out for one another, who will? Okay? So let's go to another level in our thinking and get rid of that poverty mindset so we can start prospering. All right? Queen, you got any last words? Other than that, I'm out. I'm done.
No last words.
Okay, family, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.